All right, guys. So we're going to work with exponential and logarithm number 5. Not too much new this week, just some dialing in some stuff. So last week, some people had trouble with this here. So let's kind of review what we're looking at with these rational functions. So let me kind of do a little bit of extra work here for you guys. So let's just kind of take this idea here and just say x minus 1 and x plus 2. Now, don't forget, this is your vertical asymptote. And it's pretty much x minus 1 equals 0, so x equals 1. So that means at 1, we're going to have a vertical asymptote. Okay? So it kind of acts like h, like we talked about before. Now, this one here is your k. And your k affects your horizontal. I can't write again this morning. Oh, yeah, I should practice before I start this. It affects your horizontal, meaning this one is going to move it up 2. So k is going to move it up. I'll just do up 2. So that means that when we look at this thing here on our graph, when we draw a graph here, this horizontal asymptote, let me draw it in a different color for you guys so you guys can see it, is going to be at 2. And our vertical is going to be at 1. And my verticals are still ugly. Okay? So it really shifted this center. If you look at where the vertical and the horizontal cross, it shifted 1 to the right and 2 up. Just like a vertex. 1 to the right and 2 up. Okay? So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now when we deal with these. So this is acting like our H. This is acting like our K, but it has to do with vertical asymptotes and horizontal asymptotes. All right? Now, what happened is we threw this problem at you something like this last week, and you went, uh-oh, I don't know what to do. So let's just kind of take our concepts that we have here, and we'll start with the verticals. So our vertical asymptote here is when we set the denominator equal to 0. So let's just say, okay, let's just find our vertical here. So if we find our vertical, we're going to take x squared minus 9 equals 0. X squared equals 9, because I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And I'm going to get x is equal to plus or minus 3. So if we get x is equal to plus or minus 3 on the graph, that means I'm going to have a vertical at x equals negative 3 and x equals positive 3. 3, not 5. Wow, that's pretty ugly, guys. Positive 3. All right. 3. Here we go. Okay, so we've got 1 at x equals negative 3 and 1 at x equals positive 3. Now, what do we say about k out here? This is going to move my horizontal down 1 because it's negative 1, right? So just like this one went up 2 because it was positive 2, this one's going to go down 1 because it's positive 1. Now, the biggest difference here, guys, is these guys right here. There are 2 of them. So if we're going to graph this, so now let's just kind of clean it up here a little bit. If we're going to graph this, we'll do our graph right here. Yeah, I'll just put it right here. Here's our graph. Oh, that was close to straight. Here's our graph. We know that I have a vertical at 3 and a vertical at negative 3. So I did those backwards just because it's a Monday. So we've got that, and we've got our vertical one here, and we've got our vertical one here. And this horizontal one is going to move down 1, so I'm going to go down 1, and I'm going to put my horizontal like that. And so now I've got the vertical asymptote and the horizontal asymptote covered. All I need to do now is find my x-intercepts. And how do we find our x-intercepts? We set it equal to 0. So let's go back to the original. I'll do it in big choices here, yellow. So if I go back to the original, I get 1 over x squared minus 9 minus 1 equals 0. Let me slide this up just a little bit, guys. If I take this and solve it for x, we're going to get 1 over x squared minus 9 equals, we're going to move the 1 over 1. So when I multiply this thing across, because I set up my ratio, see the idea of rational equations, the first 5 letters are ratio. So we're trying to always set up ratios. So x squared minus 9 times 1 is x squared minus 9. 1 times 1 is 1. So I just multiplied this way and multiplied that way. And so when we move this around, I'm going to add 9 to both sides. I get x squared equals 10. X equals plus or minus the square root of 10, which we know that the square root of 9 is 3. So technically, the square root of 10 is going to be slightly bigger than 3. So that means my x-intercepts are just outside of the asymptotes here. And that means that this graph, oops, what's going on here? There it goes. Uh-oh, I don't know what happened here, guys. Hold on. Is my computer freaking? Whoops. Uh-oh. It's doing that thing again. All right. We'll deal with it here. I'll have to restart the computer. That means that those go there. Okay. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know where the rest of it is. Well, the rest of it is going to be below in this center quadrant. But since both of these are up, this is going to kind of do one of these things. It's just going to do kind of a silly little parabola, and hopefully your drawing is better than mine, and your computer is not flashing violently when you try to touch the keypad. So that's kind of the big one that we're dealing with there that we needed to cover. So don't forget, we're going to set these the numerator equal to 0, and then that acts like an h. Which may give you in these particular problems 2 different vertical asymptotes that we'll put in here. And then I'm trying to think of anything else that I need to put on here for you guys. Really nothing on this first video. I just want you guys to go back and make sure, oops, that didn't work. I want you to make sure that on our unit circle, guys, this is going to be crazy. Sorry. I'm going to restart my computer here soon. On our unit circle, we are going to, you know what, I'm going to try something right now, guys, while you guys are on here. I am going to close this.